All right, folks, I am Pops, and welcome Stranger Things Talk. I know. My palate cleanser. Trust me, folks, if you need one, this is a show. This is a great show. It's got great bookends, season 1, season 4. But today we're going to talk about the dip in the roller coaster, in my opinion. And I brought with me Daryl the Derelict, my brother. Thank you so much for talking Stranger Things with me.
Thanks for having me.
I see your shirt's on. You're ready to represent and do
your
thing. Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely.
So it was my palate cleanser, brother, because obviously entertainment has taken a dip. They're taking a crap on stuff I love in a lot of ways. And I need like a pick-me-up as much as I need. And by the way, if we're going to have strikes and stuff like that, that's a good chance to go back and revisit some stuff like this. I don't think I'm alone with my assessment of season 3, that this is kind of a dip of the 4 seasons. Where does this one rank for you?
Well, to me, I'm one of the few who didn't dip out when season 3 hit. I enjoyed it. I mean, there were some things about it where I was, kind of a groaner, but for the most part, I enjoyed it.
Okay. I think it's the weakest. I think there's season 1, season 2 steps down some, mostly because season 2, I think I did a video, season 2 starts so slow. Like the first 2 episodes are just, it's really brutal. And by the end, it's great. Like I think season 2 ends really, really strong. Season 3, it's almost like they couldn't quite figure out how to manage so many different concepts. And then season 4, I don't know, brother. We'll do a whole other video. We'll do a whole other video if season 4 was planned or not, because they pulled it off. So let's go through season 3 of some of my issues. You tell me where I'm wrong. The first thing I hated Fat Dad Hopper. So Fat Dad Hopper basically is, he's got 11. 11 and Mike are now, they're teenagers and they love kissing, right? But he's like Fat Dad. And he's not really super competent cop anymore. He's sort of like, I don't know. He's just sort of a product of the situation, and he's just not interesting Hopper like he was in episode 1 or season 1. It's like, I don't know. And then we end up going down this rabbit hole with like the 80s cliche of the Russians, and Hopper gets sort of sucked into that investigation. Am I too off base with the Russian Hopper storyline? Because to me, that was probably one of the weaker elements, because like he was so good in season 1. Like, it was just like, you could see yourself wanting to be Hopper. You wanted to be that guy who could figure this out. It was so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree. The, overprotective dad element was a little bit overdone. And, well, yeah, of course he got fat, because the whole year he had 11, all they did was eat junk food.
Yeah, I know.
So it's no wonder he gained weight.
Let go of my ego. So, there was like an ego commercial for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do agree it was overdone a bit. I mean, they just made it seem that pretty much if he wasn't at work, he was just sitting there, just, giving the stink eye through the crack in the door or whatever.
Right.
And
right.
it's like, yeah, there are dads like that out there, but considering the fact that he lost his girl to cancer, and, he was pretty much broken from that, to him to turn around and start becoming that with 11, it just seemed kind of, I don't know, it just seemed kind of a little too much.
It seemed like a lazy cliche for me. So, all right. In contrast, we get the mall right out of the gate. And the season, of course, the season finale ends with the battle for the mall. The mall is amazing. Was it not? I mean, you're about, I don't know, we're close enough in age where we are like, we were at that mall. We knew that mall.
Oh, yeah.
It was incredibly well done. Yes?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. I mean, we got a mall in Fort Worth not far from us that we go to every once in a while that's similar to that.
Okay. Yeah, sadly here in the greater Central Florida area where I'm at recording, those are pretty much gone or been renovated into something that you can't recognize. I don't think of any off the top of my head, but there could be in like, there's, maybe the Newport Richie area, because there's like senior citizens. Maybe they kept that one that way or something. Maybe, I don't know. But love the mall. Thought the mall was actually probably one of the biggest positives. I also would say the biggest positive or at least one of the biggest positives to me was I really, really, really enjoyed, even though we do get like maybe this is part of the reason season 3 struggles. Like maybe it's like woke elements a little bit, but I really liked Robin's character. Steve's kind of like he's stuck. They're working in the silly little shop with their ridiculous outfits, and they
Scoops
end up down.
ahoy.
It scoops ahoy. We end up down this crazy rabbit hole of decoding the Russian message or whatever. And she is always like, the girls are now the key to everything in season 3. Like it kind of is a negative for me, but I thought Robin was probably one of the most believable characters at this point. Not that I'm not trying to say any of the characters are not. I'm just trying to say she just seemed like she jumped off screen and seemed like somebody I went to school with and that I know personally.
Yeah, she portrayed the typical, stereotypical band weenie.
Yeah.
The one who was in band, who was really smart, but was really shy at the same time. And once she kind of found her element, and she just came out of her shell, and I really enjoyed her character.
Yeah, I really do. All right, let me go back to a negative. I can't stand, the show did it in season 2. They did it again in season 3. Is storylines or story arcs only work if we keep secrets or we lie. And they did it twice. So we do it with Will again. He's not transparent about what's actually happening, what is experiencing. He's keeping information to himself. And then of course Dustin with the polywog stuff and things like that. And that kind of continues here with his communication with Susie and what's really going on. And it's just storylines only exist and work if people are lying to one another and things like that. I can't stand that storytelling. Tell me how crazy I am or how wrong I am with these elements in this show.
You're not wrong. I mean, I remember back when I was a kid in the mid 80s, we never lied to each other. And if we did, we'd call each other out immediately. Say, dude, you're full of crap. Immediately. And these, group of friends are so close. They're like siblings, and which they should act like that. It's like, come on, man, something's wrong. Give it up.
Yeah, like, and again, this has gone on for a minute with Will's character. He's probably my least favorite of the core characters because of this keeps happening. Like, it's like, dude, come on. You were abducted by these things. You coughed this thing up. It's like no one is shocked by anything that you would have to say that you're going through. Please be honest. Obviously, there's some sort of supernatural element here going on. Hair standing up on your neck and things like that shouldn't be kept to yourself, brother. Like, I would be so ticked off if I found out that was the fact. I'd be like, Daryl, you're killing me, brother.
Yeah,
come on, man.
Exactly. And I would expect to be called out on it.
Yeah.
I mean, my friends and I did that religiously when we were kids.
And we don't have a female perspective, but I love your thoughts. I thought the Max in 11 and the relationshipy stuff and girls going off and having girl time and talking about boys and all that, I thought all of that worked really, really well in the show. With the only exception of 11 spying on the boys, I didn't care for that element, but I'm not surprised that a girl would that a character would do that. It would have been a boy too, that they would spy on the opposite. But I didn't like that. But I thought that it was done very, very well. That was one of the positives in this season as well.
Oh yeah, I knew girls like that. I think everybody our age did.
Yeah,
they'd get together and it was just like boys didn't matter anymore, and it was like, hey, just left in the dark. Like, all right, let's go play D&D or watch a movie or go to the arcade or something.
Yeah, Max is just such a great character. She really, really is. She really grows. As the seasons go on, you end up becoming more attached to her than you do some of the other characters. So,
yeah, I got some things to say about that too.
Yeah. So, another positive is actually going to be Billy. I don't know how to say his first name. Is it Daker?
Dockery Montgomery.
Dockery Montgomery. He gets some really great opportunities to showcase some talent. He's very believable as this possessed, supernatural, empowered being. It just works really, really well. The only thing I can say about this dude is I'm disappointed he hasn't gotten more opportunities, because there's a lot of acting chops in there to work with. Very impressive scenes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Billy is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. The Russian trope we touched on briefly. I don't mind that Joyce is doing her thing. I thought all of that was fine. The Nancy Jonathan newspapery stuff and some of the cliches and things like that are still a little weird and awkward of how we're going to handle all that. And then adding in the new thing with the new mayor. I think this is the weaker elements to the backbone of the show, because the show's always done such a good job of taking us on a journey where you have 3 or 4 subplots. The audience is keeping track of more information than each character pod, but they end up having character story pods that I don't really care. I'm like, I don't, Nancy, I'm not, yeah, you could just not exist in this episode. This season didn't help her and Jonathan. Like, it's almost like they didn't know exactly how to I don't know. Was this, you watched this more in real time than I did, or at least did YouTube videos maybe, or I don't know. I didn't, but was this season rushed? Do you think there was things that were just, they weren't quite done with or something maybe? I don't know.
What to me is like they concentrated so much on the main story with the Russians and involving everybody. Nancy and Jonathan were just kind of forgotten. And then like last minute, oh, we got to come up with something for them. That's what it seemed like. They didn't put enough effort into their storyline that they did everyone else's.
Okay.
Because to be honest, rewatching season 3, I fast forward through a lot of the Nancy Jonathan stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See that is why I think it's the weakest of the 4 seasons. Why I think a lot of folks had to be told how good season 4 was before they would jump in. Right. You know, we had to get through it and go, oh yeah, this is really, really good. Oh, okay. So I thought 3 just, I want to say it does it plods along through some of these little story arcs, right? Because you end up with so much screen time that's being wasted with the Nancy Jonathan, fat and uninteresting Hopper. We got to get to the Russian thing, but it's slow going. I'm still not totally sold on this Russian thing. It seems like this Cold War thing they come up with, but I don't know that I'm like, all right, whatever. It's just more like that's what you're doing, fine, but it didn't like pull me in. Make sense?
Yeah, I agree. It didn't pull me in, but it intrigued me because it was like I remember a lot of the Cold War stuff when I was a kid, and it's like I could see the Russians totally doing that. They get wind that somebody in the States created this portal to a different dimension, and they want to try and find a way there so they can use it for their advantage. But other than that, the super strong Russians and all that stuff is like, it's a little over the top. But all in all, I did enjoy it.
Oh, look, trust me, I'm telling you, season 3 of Stranger Things is still better than a lot of other content, right? So let's just be honest. If you can plod through season 3 to get season 4, it's almost like it evens out some of the bumps. You know what I mean? Season 4 really, really elevates the show. But I thought we should do some justice on, is season 3 the worst season or the weakest season, and why? Those kinds of things. What are some of your other thoughts on this season or some of the story arcs that we should kind of touch on?
Okay, be honest. At the end, when Hopper dies, did you tear up?
Oh, I'm still yes, I had an emotional response. I don't say I teared up, but I was kind of like, holy crap, they killed him off. And I will say that I actually seriously thought he could actually have been killed off for that brief moment, because I thought, well, the actor's made a name for himself. He may go on to do something else. He may have wanted to be written off the show. Now, there's a little credit nod type thing, so oh, he's not really done. It's kind of a portal type thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, holy crap. I had that sort of response. And even on the rewatch, I did have that emotional, gut punch, like, oh crap. You know what I mean?
Even though it's coming, it still hits you.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, they deliver finale. Oh, the mall thing saves the season. Like if the mall finale wasn't so good, because they dabble so much with what and where Eleven's powers are and things like that, so they have to come up with ways to involve the other kids. And because they do, you end up more invested in those kids' journeys too, where they're like, well, we're not going to be able to ever escape all of these crazy supernatural nonsense. So we might as well figure something out.
Right.
I really liked all that. You know, I mean, it's like, well, I don't want to be a part of all this, but I guess if I'm trapped here in the mall, the scene's going to eat me. I might as well figure out where's those fireworks and where's this and so I got that. That's fun. Yeah, I had a good time.
Oh yeah, when Lucas saw the fireworks lit up, I was like, oh yeah, I get you.
You mentioned it briefly. I hated the Russian guy, the super strong Russian Draco type character. I hated that character. I hated that element of the Russian thing. I really would have preferred more like nerdy Russian stuff and just generic soldier things to elevate Hopper back to be what Hopper is. You know what I mean? He might be a little slower or whatever because he's Fat Hopper, but it would have been pretty good stuff. So
Now the other Russian, Alexei, loved him.
Yeah, Alexi's.
He was very likable.
Yeah. I really, Alexei was a good little story. And there's some good moments with Alexei. There's some really good things that kind of play out with that. So yeah. Any other final thoughts on season 3?
No, I think we pretty much touched on everything.
Okay.
I'm just glad there at the end when Nancy and Jonathan came back into the fold with the other kids.
Mm-hmm.
It got back to the Nancy and Jonathan that we like.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. So, my rankings are season 1 is kind of like 4.5 out of 5, a very strong 4.5. Season 2 is more like a strong 3.5, 3.5. This is a 3. And then we get to season 4. We'll do a whole video just on season 4 because season 4 is, I can't believe how good season 4 is. Like it goes back to season 1 level. I couldn't believe how good it was. So
yeah, they did an excellent job.
Where are you ranking them if you had to grade them?
As many times as I've rewatched them, I'd rank season 1 a 4, season 2 a 3.5, and season 3 a 3.5.
Okay. All right, about the same. All right, folks. Well, folks, you guys let us know. Make sure you check out this guy's stuff. And let us know your comments, your thoughts, your feelings. Season 3, weakest, why, what you like, what you don't like. Love to hear your thoughts if you're watching it or not. Thank you so much for being with us and hanging out. We will talk about some other stuff too. I'll put the link. I'll try to remember to put the link there. Man, I've had a terrible time, Daryl. My age is showing. Our other talks on Stranger Things and that kind of thing too. So thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pops.
See ya.